CP. You're up here. Okay, I can tell this is going to be well. So let me welcome everyone back to campus in the Huff Athletic Center. So we want to welcome our alumni, our family and friends, whether it's your first visit to campus or a many-time return visit to our beautiful campus. I hope you enjoy your time with us this weekend. I'd like to recognize the Pratt and Axline families for their generous contributions that have made the permanent home of the Hall of Fame upstairs. You can stop up there after the ceremonies this morning and see previous inductees' plaques. Make that such a great location for us to recognize the best of Fighting Scott athletics. And it's a special thank you to Jane Pratt and the Bill Axline families for all they've done for athletics at Monmouth. So thanks to them. Our historian, Mr. Rankin, has told me that we've been fortunate to not have the passing of an M Club Hall of Fame member since our last meeting, so we're thankful for that. But I would like to take a moment of reflection to recognize those loved ones that each of you may have lost in the past year. Thank you. I'd also like to thank the members of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee that served as our host and helped hand out programs this year. All the crazy baseball guys in their red shirts in the back. Don't worry, we don't have Colts on campus. It's just Coach Paterni's guys, so everything will be okay with them. The mission of the SAC committee is to enhance the total student athlete experience by promoting opportunity, protecting student athlete welfare, and fostering a positive student athlete image. Lots of activities on campus today for each of you. The homecoming parade on East Broadway between 6th and 9th will begin at 10 a.m. Chris, repeat after me, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Thank you. It will include the pipe band, the Fighting Scots marching band, the 22 homecoming court, alumni award recipients, members of the 72 championship football team, as well as the 40, 35, 30, 10, and 5-year reunion classes. Guys in the back of the room, any students? I remember when I was living in my dorm where the swimming pool is right now, thinking how old all of the 40-year class reunion people were, and that's that day for me today, so it happens quickly. Next door in Glennie Gym at 11 a.m., Coach Tebow Butler's women's volleyball team will play a conference match versus Midwest Conference opponent Lake Forest College. That's at 11 a.m. The homecoming football game at Zorn Stadium against Lawrence University will kick off at a special start time of 2 p.m. And we ask that our 3 inductees be at the 50-yard line at 1:45 to be recognized, thank you, to be recognized by the crowd before the coin toss. Yeah, we'll get him there. So it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up the #1 fan of Fighting Scott athletics, Dr. Clarence Wyatt, President of Monmouth College.
Watching my 40th reunion was a long time ago, so I can feel that for you. Thanks everybody for being here today. This is one of my favorite events during a lot of favorite events during the homecoming weekend. And before I'll do a couple of things first. It is absolutely appropriate that we honor people who have excelled in athletics at Monmouth College. Athletics is an essential part of Monmouth College. 60% of our students participate in intercollegiate athletics at some point in their time at the college. Those student athletes succeed in the classroom, succeed in student government, succeed in other activities. They retain at a higher rate, they graduate at a higher rate, and they go on, as all of these folks have done, to distinguish themselves in in their service to their communities and their success in their careers. And so we honor not only the achievements that they had on the court, in the field, in the pool, during their athletic careers at the college, but also for the honor that they've brought to the college in those years since. And before I step out of the way, I just want to say a couple of thank yous. A thank you to all of our coaches who make all of those good things happen for our student athletes, both in the time that they're here and in continuing their mentorship and support of our student athletes after they graduate from the college. And most of all, I want to thank our athletic director, Roger Haynes, for the leadership that he provides to this essential part of the Monmouth College experience. Thank you, Roger.
So we're here today to recognize the accomplishments of 3 special inductees who represented Monmouth College in 7 different varsity sports and also as a dedicated coach and sports information director. The first was an all-conference performer multiple times in volleyball, basketball, and track and field. She was named the Midwest Conference Woman of the Year in 2009 and a semifinalist nationally for the NCAA Division III Woman of the Year. T, I guess I didn't realize you were only a semifinalist. We couldn't do any better than that. I haven't seen her for a long time. You don't understand. She capped her career with a 4th place national finish in the discus throw as a senior as well. So now to present Tanisha Hughes Newell for induction into the Monmouth College Athletics M Club Hall of Fame is Rakisha Murray. Rakisha.
I'm honored to be here to introducing my best friend. I am honored to be here introducing my best friend of 20 years. I met Tanisha freshman year of high school at cheerleading tryouts of all places, and we've been inseparable ever since. Throughout high school, Tanisha excelled academically and athletically, so it's no surprise that she brought that excellence with her here to Monmouth. During her time at Monmouth, Tanisha was an outstanding 3-sport athlete competing in basketball, volleyball, and track and field. In 2009, Tanisha received the Midwest Conference Woman of the Year honor. She was also a semifinalist for the NCAA Division III Woman of the Year. In spring of 2009, she won All-American honors after placing 4th at the NCAA 2009 meet. And during her senior year of basketball season, she led the Midwest Conference with her 16.3 points and 10.2 rebound averages. She ranks 6th all-time with her .249 hitting percentage in volleyball. Not just an amazing athlete, Tanisha was also an excellent student. She earned academic all-conference status 10 times and was named to the National Dean's List. She currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia with her husband and 2 sons, and she continues to share her love of sports by coaching club volleyball in Georgia. This past year, while pregnant with her baby, she took her team to nationals. I am so proud of all that she has accomplished and am truly honored to introduce Tanisha Newell. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for getting up early to be here with us. This is such an honor, and I first want to give glory to God and congratulate the other inductees. Congratulations. Congratulations. Also, thank you to Coach Haynes, thank you, and anyone else who's had a part of the decision to include me in this year's induction. I graduated from Monmouth in 2009 and attended because of the late Virgil Boucher, who's a big part of the school. I was able to continue my love for computer coding and attain a degree in computer science. That was 13 years ago, and I'd say I feel old, but I know some of you might laugh at me. But my years here in Monmouth were some of the best years of my life. I played 3 sports in high school, 4 if you count dance, but I came to college only committing to playing 1, and that was volleyball. As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to attending the volleyball game later today. During the volleyball season, I was in class with Coach Melissa Bittner, and we were using these nice glow-in-the-dark Mom and Scott's basketballs, and I wanted one so bad. And I even offered to buy it. And her response was, "I'll give you one if you come out for the team." and that's how I got on the basketball team. When the basketball season was coming to an end, I saw the track throwers right here in the field house doing drills, so I sat and watched. Two of the throwers came and talked to me, and next thing you know, made a decision to join the track team. So, you see, it didn't take much time for me to recommit to 3 sports in college. Probably one of the best decisions I've made, besides marrying you, baby. I have so many great memories with my teammates, some of whom I'm still great friends with. As a matter of fact, obviously you guys have met my best friend, Rakisha. We've been friends for quite a long time. The day after graduation, I drove to St. Louis for a job interview. And in my interview, I was asked to talk about my college experience. And of course, sports came up. That was a large part of my college experience, along with the other organizations I was involved in. I got that job, and he told me the reason I got the job over all the other applicants was because my ability to play 3 sports in college and maintain a high GPA and participate in other organizations on campus told him that I was able to balance a large load, exceed expectations, and work well on a team. I'm still at that job to this day, and I love it, thanks to my experience here at Monmouth. There were many friend vacations that I was not able to attend because I had had practice or games over break, but there were also times when we would shower at the opposing school and do our hair on the bus and already have our outfit laid out for the party that night. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I didn't miss much. You gotta do what you gotta do. To the family and friends who are here for us, it means a lot to have you to be a part of this. It's probably not hard to tell who my family is. They're right here. But speaking of family, yesterday we attended my grandmother's funeral. Rest her soul. She lived 71 great years on this earth, and I know she's here watching me, but I miss her so much, and she would always tell me how proud of me she was. And I know her spirit is here smiling and saying, "Congratulations, sweetie." She always called me sweetie. But again, thank you for this honor. I'm truly blessed and thankful to be a part of Monmouth's history.
Tanisha's tougher than most. She played for Coach Woodard, Coach Shimon, and Coach Bittner, if anybody knows about the collection of those 3. It doesn't take much to set any of that off, so T, good job surviving all 3 of them. That's why you and I got along so easily, right? Everybody thinks I'm bad, but you're easy. Good. Our second inductee today displayed the ability and effort of handling a pitching staff, as well as he set the all-time Midwest Conference Monmouth College record for career home runs. He was also a team leader of the baseball team that finished 1 win shy of the College World Series. Coach Pyle, there are so many jokes that you and I could make about each other up here, but Steve, there's so many you and I could have, I'm not even going to bother. Anybody that wants to see as you're coming into town, there's 2 shady-looking guys on a billboard outside of town that I see every day. Coach Sander, I got to give you credit because Steve's a lawyer, and we all know what Coach Sander thinks about lawyers. So now to present Taylor Field for induction into the Monmouth Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Stephen Glasgow, Ebb Club Hall of Famer himself in 2017.
First and foremost, I'd like to say congratulations to all of the 2022 M Club Hall of Fame inductees. I'm here to introduce my friend, Taylor Field, a man who I've walked shoulder to shoulder with for over 30 years. We are here today to highlight his athletic accomplishments, but there's also a need to emphasize Taylor Field the person, which further justifies today's induction. We can all see the stats, but we must not overlook the truly great attributes that differentiated Taylor from his peers. Most people will never fully truly know the effort that Taylor devoted to his on-campus engagements, his off-season preparation, or his on-field leadership. As much as Taylor was a competitive athlete, he was equally devoted to his student record. He was held in high regard by a majority of the faculty and staff, and well-liked by most of the student body, other athletes, even the weirdos on campus like Taylor. On leadership, I'm reminded of a doubleheader we had. The weather was oscillating between snow flurries and freezing rain, coupled with a 25-mile-an-hour wind blowing in from center field. Some of the guys were complaining, and Coach Sander was on the verge of canceling the games. Then I heard Taylor's voice through the sea of complaints and through the biting wind. He valiantly said to all of us he was ready to play too. Coach Sander looked over and nodded approvingly in Taylor's direction, and the games were on. Taylor walked over to me right after that, and he said to me, "Hey man, help me get these guys ready to go." I looked out into center field where I'd spend the next 4 hours, looked back at Taylor, and steadfastly, with every ounce of my being, said, "No, I don't want to be out here freezing, but thank you, Taylor. Great job. Maybe you can lobby Coach Sander for 2 more games. Maybe we can all get hypothermia together." But there was Taylor, all bundled up in his extra layers of catcher's gear, forcing the rest of us out to the field. Now, we did pick up 2 wins that day, but to this day, I still can't feel one of my nipples. Seriously though, Taylor grinded every step of the way at his time in Monmouth. He grinded towards his best, and he kept a pace of excellence long after many others would call it a night. He embodies all an M Club inductee should embody. He possesses all that makes him deserving of today's recognition, a recognition which places him with the very best to ever shoulder a Fighting Scots uniform, and someone who the Monmouth College community can forever proudly say is one of their own. Today is the magnification of the athletic accomplishments of a guy raised in a highly pedigreed athletic family, and this induction is proof positive that he has taken the flag of that family and moved it forward. Finally, I'd like to say that in 20 years since Taylor's Monmouth College graduation to today's recognition have elapsed, and no one, least of all Taylor, should interpret that passage of time as any degradation or asterisk on the deservedness of this honor. Rather, today is a testament to his accomplishments, the resoluteness of which, and the enduring positive impact he left on the Monmouth College community. I am proud to present my friend for induction, Taylor Thiel.
Wow. Whew. Thank you, Steve. Beautiful introduction. Thank you, Sharon Davis, and great Monmouth College athletes. Unbelievable to finally be here. I was fortunate enough to be able to spend more time at Monmouth College than I probably was supposed to, growing up 12 miles down the road in Galesburg. But Monmouth College has always been on my radar. Add to that, this guy was my best friend. We're over here all the time. His dad was the head basketball coach, athletic director, Terry Glasgow, for many years. Getting to be able to be around that, meet college staff, meet faculty, meet other coaches, before I was even decided that I was going to come here. So, I mean, Monmouth College has always been, you know, a part of my growing up and part of what I ultimately ended up doing. As a lot of you know, I wasn't heavily recruited coming out of high school. I was a little bit emotional in high school. Had some problems there. Steve probably dodged a few helmets in his days. None of my teammates' equipment was safe if I had to come back to the dugout after a strikeout or something wasn't going my way. Fortunately, I grew out of some of that. Not all of it, some of it. Takes me back to my official visit with Coach. We sat in the old M Club lounge. It was outside the old gym where the old weight room used to be. Before all this was built, it was me, 3 Galesburg athletes, Steve and Joe Larkins, another Hall of Famer in the pitchers. Coach wasn't the type of guy that was going to high pressure sell us, right? All 3 of us were probably good enough that we could have played, at a higher level if we wanted to. He looked right at us and just said, "Hey, you're going to earn everything you get here. Nothing's going to be given to you. You're going to have to, you're going to have to show me that this isn't your, you're going to have to earn this spot, basically." And then one thing stuck out in my head with him. He's like, fellas, you have 4 years to play this game, okay? He goes, do you want to be a big fish in a little pond, or do you want to be a little fish in a big pond? And that always kind of stuck with me, because as many of you know, as hard-headed as I was, I had to test the waters myself. I went to Iowa State for my freshman year to play baseball, and ultimately ended up back here. So that always stuck with me. It was very important to me when I came back to join the team for my sophomore year, so that stuck with me. We didn't know what a special team we were going to have. Steve and Galesburg guys, when we came back, they failed to make the conference tournament that freshman year. I came in as a sophomore, and we were all business at that point. I learned real quick. I'll just share a quick story. This is one of the stories I want to share. The coach was running the show. When I came back. One of my first games on one of our spring trips down in Florida, we were playing Wisconsin Stout, I believe, in a doubleheader during the 2000 season. So I'd just come in. I'd been off. There was a moment where I challenged coach's authority on a mound visit. Let's just say I didn't finish that game. Some choice words were spoken to me outside of the dugout. I'm trying to keep it clean as I can here. And basically, so I didn't finish that game. So after the game, we did our normal, coach wants to meet and tell everybody, hey, try to pump us up. We lost the game, so it's like, here's what went wrong, was that. Well, we could always tell how the conversation was going to go when, coach, we went and took a knee in the outfield and we weren't out there far enough. Keep going, he'd say. Keep going. Well, this particular time, we were almost to the warning track at that point. So we knew we were in for something. He started his normal, points of the game, what we needed to improve on, and then all of a sudden he laid into me. We were on the knee, and can't say everything you can say, but let's just say he made it very clear that I could go back to Iowa State at any time. Okay? But the great part about it was after I straightened the bill of my cap and wiped the anger spray off my face at that point, he stepped back and we made eye contact, and there was a pause, and he looked at me and he goes, do you want to play this game? And I go, yes, sir. And he goes, good. He goes, you're starting the next game. Get your gear on, get your butt to the bullpen and warm up the pitcher. Okay, yes, sir. Put my gear on, went in there. Well, this is the motivating factor that I want to talk about, because not 30 minutes later, in my first at-bat of that game, I hit my first career home run at Monmouth College. So, little story there for Coach. What was it about baseball and what made me work as hard as I wanted to do? Honestly, it started for me with my family. I was playing for the name on the back of my jersey, not literally, it was metaphorically, because we didn't have our names on our jerseys, except for I think we had a t-shirt that we had that we wore sometimes. Growing up in Galesburg, field name, playing basketball in field gym, my grandfather playing professionally in baseball and basketball, being a successful top 100 legend in Illinois high school basketball history. My dad having a successful career at Division I basketball at SMU. Both my uncles having successful D1 baseball careers, with my Uncle Mark playing AAA from the New York Yankees organization. Every day I was out there representing my family, the ones that had been there through all the good times and the bad times, and had accomplished the things that I had hoped to accomplish, and I played to make them proud. Each season started in early February. Back then we'd have to practice at 5:30 in the morning due to the facility space. No problems now. This is all built after us here, but it was the old Glenny Gym up here, and right outside the gym was all the Monmouth College Hall of Fame plaques of all the athletes that came before you. So we had to walk by that every morning, walking into the gym to do our practice at 5:30. And not a lot of people took a lot of notice of it, but I did. It's like, how was I gonna get up there on that wall? Came in my sophomore year. I had some great teammates ahead of me. I got the leader of that team was Sean Hickey. I got to give him a shout out. He showed me, about leadership and what it took. He definitely set the foundation for the rest of my career as far as work ethic and leadership. We won over 20 games that first sophomore season, made it to the conference tournament after we had failed to reach the year before. My junior year was Casey Boydston. Casey might have been the only senior on that team that year, I think, Coach, because I don't know if everybody flunked out or we just didn't, whatever happened to that recruiting class, but I think he was the only senior on that team. But man, I've never been around anybody more that took the game more serious than he did. He was also a teammate of mine at Galesburg High School, so we grew up playing together. I looked at Casey, as he took a similar path, tried the D1 route, came back to Monmouth. His career spoke for itself. Again, we had another 21 season, made the conference tournament, but fell a little short. My senior year, we had a great, we had 8 seniors, Hall of Famers, Joe Larkins, Ryan Johnson, Steve was part of that team, and others. finally got over the hump. Another 21 season. At the time, it was the school record of 26 wins. I got to catch Joe and Ryan's 20th wins as pitchers on the same day in shutouts. Amazing. And it was got the conference win. Basically, our last game was over Knox, and what was special about that one is that was my last home run against Knox in the conference tournament. Last home run, last game against Knox, I was 13-0 as a player against Knox. I must say that, so that was good. I never lost to him as a player. What was special about that home run, Steve Blasco hit a home run right before that. So me and him got to go back-to-back. We had a great student section that year, and it was absolutely pandemonium. It was crazy. But that was the record-breaking home run, and I remember. I also remember Coach Dugan, because he collected the ball for me, and I didn't ever get the ball because, I don't know if it was because of budget, we were short. We were eating our Pop-Tarts and box lunches, and baseballs were expensive, but I think he put it back into play, so I don't have that ball. Never got it, so that's a little dig at Coach Dugan. I think about all the connections again that helped me along the way. Growing up, I had some other Hall of Fame Monmouth athletes that I grew up with. My sophomore basketball coach in high school was Mark Reed and Arnold Gonzalez, two M Club members here today. I was just around Monmouth people, some great people. Gave a shout out, to high school coach Gary Brewington. My post 285 coach was Coach Sturgeon. He was the one that basically instilled team first, discipline, believing and having confidence in yourself. Coach Weinbright, Coach Dugan, of course. To my teammates, thank you for making my senior season and my career here my favorite team I've ever been a part of. Each one of you is a special place in my heart. The experiences we had, the opportunities, the thrilling games, the road trips, the devastating losses and humbling experiences all built the character of our team, and I was honored to be considered one of the leaders. Thank you to my parents, Dad, for putting the ball in my hand, passing along your love of sports and the family history to me. It's definitely been a bond between us over the years and continues to this day. Even though you are a Packers and Cardinals fan, which I've been taking the brunt of that rivalry right now, but we're okay. We'll get there. Thank you, Mom, being my safety net when things weren't going my way, most of the time by my own doing. I apologize for all the times you had to be the one to pick up the pieces after my meltdowns in my younger days. You handled the situations like a boss, but I'm glad it was you that I could turn to for the voice of reason for the amount of time you spent around and the Thiel family. Thank you to Becky. You're a critical time in my life where I needed some stability and support, where I could have gone a total different path in life. Apologize for the many Saturday mornings where I was practicing my American Idol tryouts with my phenomenal singing ability on the way to games and practices. Special thank you to my wife Megan, who couldn't be here today. She's holding down the fort, had some responsibilities there. We got an elderly pet, who's people know that pets are part of your family. He's struggling, so despite all my success on the baseball diamond, she gave me my two biggest accomplishments, my daughter Kennedy and my son Stone, here today. Nothing's been giving me more joy in my life than watching them chase their dreams and grow up. And as both of you are entering new chapters in your life, I pray that you're fortunate enough to find your passion and experience the love and support that I was fortunate enough to have as I was growing up. And special thank you to Coach Sander. Words can't express my gratitude for you. When I lost your trust and broke my word and headed off to Iowa State my freshman year, you very easily could have wrote me off and moved on, but you didn't. You showed me grace and gave me a second chance, and I promised myself and you that I was going to do everything I could to earn your trust and respect back. Thank you for being that coach that made the difference in my life. If not for that second chance, I wouldn't be standing here. You helped me fall more in love with baseball than I ever thought I could. Thank you for pushing me to be better than I thought I could be, not just as a baseball player, but as a person too, and I hope I made you proud. Thank you to Monmouth College for an unforgettable college experience. The family-like connections I had with my teammates, coaches, and teachers that ultimately led to the lifelong relationships made my journey through this close-knit community that much more special. And finally, to baseball, thank you for an amazing 17 years. It wasn't always easy, but every hard practice, every sore muscle, every injury, every failure, every success was worth it. If I had to choose it, I would do it all over again. Thank you for introducing me to some of the most amazing people this world has to offer. And thank you for taking me to many beautiful places. Thank you for molding me and shaping me into a better version of myself every single day. And with a grateful heart, thank you for this honor. Go Scots.
President Wyatt could probably help me with this. I know that as I listen to Taylor speak, I know there's a quote, something to the effect of, those who follow stand on the shoulder of giants, and the baseball guys all in the back. Thank you two guys, because we've made tremendous progress since you guys were here. We no longer get white bread in our sack lunches. We get a hoagie bun and a slice of cheese on those box sandwiches that they eat when they go to games. So we've made huge progress since you guys were here. Thank you for that. That's true. Our third inductee had an excellent undergraduate running career, setting 4 Monmouth records on the track, and was a 3-time all-conference CC runner. Bob, I want you to talk to him about what went wrong the 4th year. I'm not sure about that. You can talk to him about that today. He returned to Monmouth after completing a master's degree to lead the Scots men's cross-country team to the 1996 Midwest Conference title, as well as 8 titles for the women's indoor and outdoor track teams. His, let's say, statistical side came out as a sports information director, where he developed the record books so important to the history of Monmouth College athletics. So now to present Chris Pyle for induction into the Monmouth College Athletic M Club Hall of Fame, Mr. Craig Dahlquist, class of 1978 at Monmouth College. Craig?
Good morning, everybody. Taylor, Tanisha, congratulations to you both. This is awesome, and I am really honored just to be here to introduce Chris. Real quickly, Chris and I went to school together. I'm class of 78, he's class of 84. We happen to be in the same fraternity for no particular reason. That's what Monmouth College is all about. Through the years, our relationship has developed because of Monmouth College. First time I remember seeing Chris was in 1980. I was at the Mid-State 9, Mid-State 8 track championships. I don't know how many schools were in the conference at that time, but this wiry kid from Peoria High School came blowing by the field in the last lap of the 1,600 meters, and I'd never heard of him before. Just, here's this kid winning. I thought, wow, that's pretty good. He might have been wearing glasses. Can't remember. Sort of have that vague memory, but I still remember that race for some reason. The next time I saw him was in the 1980 NCAA Midwest Regional Cross Country Meet. I was there to see my good friend Tim McCabe run in his last cross country race in an MC uniform, and the same wiry kid came crashing through the chute just a few steps behind Tim. He too was wearing a Monmouth College uniform, and I thought, wow, that's really cool. 2 Monmouth guys running in an NCAA meet, something I was never able to do. In the late 70s and early 80s, Monmouth College did not have a great track or cross country program. But if you paid attention, you could see changes in the culture, changes during Chris's 4 years as an undergrad. Athletes were more talented, athletes were working harder. And take note, one of Chris's roommates was a guy named Roger Haynes. Coaching is not an easy profession. It consumes your time and energy, but the reward of seeing an athlete set a personal best, score points for the team, win a conference championship, or even qualify for the NCAAs is very gratifying. Chris, you ran as a champion, you coached as a champion, and you wrote about champions, chronicling their hard work and their dedication. When I have a chance to speak to young athletes about their accomplishments and their legacies, I often share a passage from Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. Everyone must leave something behind when he dies, a child, or a book, or a painting, or a house, or a wall built, or a pair of shoes made, or a garden painted, something your hand touched some way so your soul has somewhere to go when you die. When people look at that tree or that flower you planted, you're there. It doesn't matter what you do, so long as you change something from the way it was before you touched it into something that's like you after you take your hands away. The difference between the man who just cuts lawns and the real gardener is in the touching. The lawn cutter might just as well have not been there. The gardener will be there for a lifetime. Chris, the fact that you're here today means you left your mark. In fact, you don't even need a plaque. But I saw it's already engraved and on the wall, so you're going to get it anyway. Everybody congratulate Chris. This is a great accomplishment.
Let me start, before I start my remarks, to congratulate these two young people behind me, Taylor from Galesburg and Tanisha from Peoria. It's interesting how life connects everybody. I spent the first 21 years of my life in Peoria and the last 21 years of my life in Galesburg. And in between, I got the chance to watch these two up close and in person. Tanisha dominating the throwing events from the unfortunate perspective of an opposing track and field coach. And Taylor catching quite a few fastballs from my nephew, Hall of Famer Ryan Johnson, at home games out at Peacock Park. So congratulations to both of you too for reaching this pinnacle. Thank you to my good friend Craig Dahlquist for his kind introduction, also to full-time athletic director Roger Haynes, the entire MC athletic department, all the current coaches, the administration, faculty, and staff, anybody that I came into contact with through my long association with the college, and especially the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for their gracious consideration in finding me worthy to join this rather elite group. In the spring of 1979, two events happened that would change the direction and course of my life forever. In March of that year, as a 16-year-old high school junior with no experience and no idea what I was doing, I decided to join the track and field team and try my hand as a runner, a distance runner. A few weeks later, at the invitation of Professor Bernice Fox for an academic competition, I stepped foot on the Monmouth College campus for the first time. Fast forward 43 years, and I'm still running, and I'm still at Monmouth. A few months later, after my first taste of fall cross country and winning that high school conference cross country, or that conference championship on the track, these two worlds collided when running brought me to this very special place. Monmouth provided me an outstanding college experience, an invaluable education, a lifetime network of fraternity brothers and little sisters, but also allowed me the opportunity to become a college cross-country and track student athlete. The chance to find out more about myself and about the abilities that I had just recently discovered. Over the course of 12 seasons, I ran a few races, set a few records, traveled to some new places, but more importantly, met some wonderful people, many of whom I count among my closest friends to this day, and some of whom are in this audience. A few years later, running brought me back to Monmouth when Steve's dad, athletic director Terry Glasgow, hired a 24-year-old graduate student, once again with no experience and no idea of what he was doing, to become the men's and women's cross country and women's track and field coach, to take over for his college cross country coach, Hall of Famer Judd Crideneer, upon his retirement. And over the next 12 years, I did the best I could to teach young men and women about the sport that I had completely embraced and that had become part of my identity. But not only about the sport, but how to play fairly by the rules, how to work hard in practice and in life, to be respectful to your teammates, to be kind to others, appreciate history, set higher and higher goals, never stop trying, take advantage of every opportunity, always do your best, regardless of speed or ability or position. I coached some truly talented teams, won a few meets, made history a few times, helped to set in motion one of the most dominant runs by any school in any sport in Midwest Conference history. But more importantly, I was a young man blessed to hold a job every day in a company of some outstanding role models, some of the best men and women to ever coach at Monmouth College. Hall of Famers all. The late Bobby Wool, Terry Glasgow, Roger Sander, Kathy Wagner, Kelly Kane, and my best friend Roger Haynes. I was also fortunate to run and travel and compete and interact every day with some of the most exceptional athletes to ever wear a Monmouth uniform. And every year, added more people to my extended Fighting Scott family. Many of them, deservedly, preceded me to this podium. Their faces are up on that wall, and their pictures are up in those trophy cases. And I am immensely proud that I am in several of those pictures with them. However, if I mention one person, or 10, or 100, I would leave somebody out by mistake, and I'd do an injustice to the whole. So please accept this group heartfelt thank you to all of those individuals who were gracious enough to listen and learn and sweat and smile with me as we ran and threw and jumped our way into the MC record books that I would one day create from scratch as perhaps my proudest legacy before I left my second job as Sports Information Director. It's personally gratifying to know that those record books still inspire and motivate and recognize the current generation of Fighting Scott athletes. I've had the pleasure of staying in contact with Monmouth, the Midwest Conference, college athletics, and the sports I love ever since. I've coached at a few other schools. I've officiated more games and events than I can count. I've announced a few college track and field meets, including a combined 18 Fighting Scott indoor and outdoor track and field conference championship victories since I last coached one. Came back to serve on the alumni board, wrote a couple of sports history books, but more importantly, have enjoyed and appreciated every step on that 40-plus year journey to this moment. On occasions such as these, it is only right to acknowledge the supportive friends and the presence of family. Since news of this honor was announced, I've received so many compliments and congratulations that it humbles me to know that I have more friends than I realized, and that I have truly made a positive impact in so many people's lives. And for that, I am eternally grateful and eternally proud. As for my immediate family, my parents couldn't be here today. My mother is watching online from her new home in Florida. And my father is watching from his place in heaven. My youngest brother is absent because one of his sons is getting married later today. Family first. But my stepmother, Kathy, and my brother, Chad, and his wife, Maureen, are here in person to witness this ceremony and share in my happiness, along with my three wonderful children. Lauren, our daughter, who has followed in her father's footsteps to become a record-setting college athlete, albeit in a swimming pool and not on dry land. Our oldest son, Scott Christopher, who carries not only my alma mater's nickname, but also my first name as his middle. And our youngest son, Eric, who shares both my birthday and now my college, after he decided to enroll here as a freshman 2 months ago. They might have never seen him run a race, or lead a practice, or coach a meet at Monmouth in their lifetime. They know that even though Dad hasn't worked here for several years, he never really left. But saving the best for last, I would not have arrived at this point in my life, or at the ceremony in the suit, without my Iris, my real best friend. Sorry, Charlie. Bobby, you are my compass, my conscience, my companion. I could not have done half of what I've done in the last 25 years without you in my life, by my side, in my heart, and on my back. After what you have had to put up with, 6 little words don't seem like nearly enough, but simply said, I love you now and forever. I've written this speech 1,000 times in my head, trying to condense 40 years into 15 minutes and come up with 100 different ways to end it. However, I've chosen to start to close this morning by sharing a few words from one of the most unexpected sources. A young man, a former runner, whom I hadn't heard from in a very long time, until he wrote me a letter about a month ago. I'd like to read a few lines. Hi, Coach Pyle. I wanted to thank you for sending the pictures along. That was very thoughtful, especially considering how busy you must have been during your move. Your note actually reminded me of the notes of encouragement that you used to write to us the night before our cross-country meets. Those always meant so much to me, and I've actually kept them all. Tonight is the night before my oldest son's first cross-country meet. I wrote in the same type of note, and I even quoted you a couple times. Coincidentally, I reached out to Coach Haynes several weeks ago and asked about the 1995 Outdoor Track Midwest Conference results. Most people probably would not care about a 5th place steeplechase finish, but it still means something to me. I think I'm proud of it because it reminds me that you don't have to be the best. Just be the best version of yourself that you can be. Thank you for your guidance, devotion, and for pulling it out of me. You had a positive influence on so many lives due to your devotion, passion, vigilance, and commitment. I know this because I am an example of it. Whether it's a letter or a Christmas card or a text message or a phone call or a face-to-face conversation, reading or hearing my athletes and friends say such kind words makes me a bit embarrassed. But it is also obvious to me that the million or so footsteps on campus, at practice, in competition, to and from the van or the bus on those long weekend road trips, foolishly and frantically chasing others around a track or on a golf course, or through the woods, in the snow, and the rain, and the mud, were all worth the effort. To paraphrase a sentiment that was recently shared by one of my first recruits, who later became the first female track and field All-American in school history, to her then college teammate and now husband, when she surprised him with a copy of my first book to celebrate their anniversary. Running got me to Monmouth. The rest is history. I am so profoundly honored to have been allowed the opportunity to go to school here, to coach here, to live here, and to be a part of our history. This is the only place I ever wanted to be. And now, after today, thanks to all of you, it's where I always will be. Finally, when any of you gathered in this space or watching online, any of my friends or colleagues, teammates, or former athletes, or my children, or my children's children, ever return to this special place and see my face up on that wall alongside the greatest talents that have ever played or worked or lived at Monmouth College. I can only hope that they realize and acknowledge and remember that all I ever tried to do with my time on this earth, at Monmouth, after Monmouth, and for Monmouth, was to not only make people better, but most importantly, to make better people. Thank you with all I have to give. Godspeed.
Chris, I have to publicly thank you because you've taught me many things over the years. I've got to check with President Wyatt and Christy Hippen, our registrar, and see if there's a course called, I'm not good in math, a course called Creative Math. There's 21 in Peoria and 21 in Monmouth. Don't add up to that gray hair on your head, brother. That's more than 42. Well, that concludes our M-Club Athletic Hall of Fame. You do not get any more mic time today. Well, that concludes our Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'd invite you to look at the previous inductees in the Hall of Fame room right at the top of the stairs on the upper level. Parade inductees, you'll meet your drivers. So Taylor and Tanisha and Chris, if you're riding in the parade, we need to get you in about 8 minutes to Faith Church on 200 South 8th. So straight out the front of Wallace Hall, 2 blocks in the parking lot down there. Michael Blasing will be driving Tanisha, I believe. Jeannie Talbot will be driving Taylor. And I think Coach Paterni is going to drive Coach Pyle and whoever's riding with him. Lauren, you get to throw out candy in the parade? No? Okay. So the homecoming parade will move down East Broadway in front of campus from 6th to 9th at 10 a.m. That's a half hour from now. Athletic activities today include, as I said, at 11 a.m. when the parade's roughly over, the women's volleyball team will play that conference match versus Lake Forest. The football game kicks off at 2 p.m. and we need our 3 inductees at the 50-yard line at 1:45 to be introduced, and then you're done with your activities for the day. So whatever it is you may choose to do the rest of the day, Taylor, your time is good after 1:45. Members of the 72 football team will be recognized at halftime immediately following the marching band performance. I think that's all of our announcements for today. So thanks all of you for being here. Thanks for joining us. Please have a wonderful time on campus and travel safely back home.